J-Mart, back to you. You recently attended the Democratic Governors Association meeting, and in your latest piece for Politico magazine has this headline: Democratic governors have a fix for the party themselves. And in it, you talk about how blue state governors are very confident heading into the midterms and the next presidential election. Let's read a little bit from it now. Whether the thin mountain air here has gone to their heads or they were genuinely bullish, I found a remarkable confidence among Democratic governors at last weekend's summer convening of the National Governors Association. You continue. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Democratic governors are also full of swagger because they believe they'll nominate one of their own for president and win in 2028. Not only are many of them more popular than their congressional counterparts, but they can also more plausibly run against ye old Washington mess as a generational change agents, the time-honored formula for every successful Democratic hopeful for over a half century, not named Biden, who ran as a vehicle to stop COVID, and Trump in no particular order. So, J-Mart, talk to us a little more about this gubernatorial swagger that you discovered there in Colorado. And in particular, are there a few governors we should be keeping our eyes on?
Yeah, look, talking to the governors who have been around politics, there's this optimism that they've seen the movie before. The Republicans, in this case, Trump, overreaches, unpopular bill. Democrats win Jersey and Virginia this fall, have a good midterm next year, and they're off to the races and reclaim the White House in 2028. You and I know it's going to be a little more complicated because Trump isn't your average bear, but that's certainly the mentality. And also, John, I think the governors are really excited because they are convinced that they're going to nominate one of their own in 2028. And the early chatter that I picked up in the sort of private conversations, of course, they're politicians, so they're always talking about who's next and who's in line and sizing each other up, is that Wes Moore from Maryland and Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, at least among their fellow governors, are kind of seen as the early frontrunners. And we are very early indeed. We're obviously 3 years out. But I think those two are seen as sort of generational figures that can turn the page on obviously Trump and also Biden as well, and run against D.C. I think that's the key, John. Can you run against D.C. plausibly, and can you have the kind of charisma to hold folks' attention for at least 7 seconds on one of these things and sort of keep people glued to their phones? That, I think, is a demand today in American politics. Trump's done that well. Obama in an earlier era obviously could do that. Who can do that for the Dems in 2028? There's miles to go, but I think early on right now, the Govs hope it's one of them, and they're looking at Shapiro and Moore. Gavin Newsom, by the way, we should add, a talented political athlete, has never been part of that governor's fraternity, John. He doesn't really go to these meetings that much, and he's sort of out in California. And maybe a bit of envy about that hair and those teeth, and I think he's not really seen as sort of one of the club.
The fun new piece available to read online now. Senior political columnist for Politico, Jonathan Martin. J-Mart, thank you as always. Coming up here on Morning Joe, today marks 6 months since that deadly midair collision just outside Washington, D.C. We'll take a look at what investigators have learned about that crash so far as they hold new hearings this week. And a reminder that the Morning Joe podcast available each and every weekday, featuring our full conversations and analysis. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts.